All right, guys, my name is Dr.Sharnael 𝐓𝐫𝐻𝐿. So very, very excited about this panel. We're going to have fun today. Of course, I have Craig Walker with me here today. How you doing?
Brilliant. Thank you. Good to see everyone. Great to have everyone here. Really excited.
Yay. And you guys are definitely know who Laura and Aaron and Tyler are. They have been regulars, and we've been back and forth on each other's shows and all friends and do things together all the time. And we just decided to get together and talk about kind of what's going on, the disclosure stuff, and then also talk a little bit about the conference that's coming up. Before we get started, just want to remind you guys, please go to drsharnael.com, get on the newsletter. That way, you know, all the shows coming up, different services offer, books. I was going to say CDs. Am I in 1980? I don't know. And
vinyl records,
workshops, 8 tracks. Just kidding.
8 tracks.
Yeah, there's a lot going on the website. We got a brand new website. You want to check that out. And then do me a favor, hit subscribe if you like this channel, because that helps us so much. Just a little like or share or comment. All those things help the algorithm. Definitely trying to get back up since they took my channel down. That was so fun, and not really. And speaking of, they took you guys' channel down, right? So what happened there?
Well, all of us have been deleted at this point.
Annoying.
Yeah, so, you know, just 5 years into building an audience, YouTube decided they've had enough, and you know, they removed 18 videos over time and demonetized us. They, you know, gave us a bunch of strikes and warnings, and then they took away all of our features to even post links and do crazy, you know, just do simple basic stuff.
We're shocked it took them that long to take us down. To be honest, we were expecting it years ago, and it just didn't happen. We're like, all right, cool, you know, maybe we're being protected or something. But then they demonetized us in December, and then they had already been deleting like 1 video a month. They're going back through like all of our old videos, and like somebody was like screening every single one. It looked like, and they were deleting videos from like 4 years ago.
Especially when they're like, this week we're annoyed with the 3 year ago one, and you're gonna get a strike on it. It's like, well, and then they don't tell you why, so it's not like you can even try to change what you're doing.
The most famous reason was medical misinformation. So what it looked like they were doing was screening every video and any talk about the vaccine agenda or the vaccine, like.
Okay, can you not say that word, please?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yes.
You're cursing everybody now.
Oh, it's
you have to edit this video now.
I don't know how to edit, so good luck with that.
You'll know.
Yeah, well, we might have to just not put this on YouTube. But well, I'm really frustrated for you guys, because that was just a bummer. I love watching you guys there, but you guys are on Rumble, and you're on BitChute too, right?
Yeah, we're on BitChute. Also,
so just
Rumble.
Want to make sure everybody knows to go find you there and
actually,
get there.
If I could jump in, I've actually found that because you are sort of less conscious of the censorship now, you're going for it. I actually prefer you on Rumble. Like, you are speaking it and you just don't even care anymore. So I actually think it's a good thing. I think it's brilliant for you.
Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, I agree. And like the guests, I feel like they know they don't have to like censor themselves as well. Exactly. They can talk about everything they want to talk about. Whereas I feel like on YouTube, a lot of them would like not talk about certain things,
right?
Because they knew it was going to be on YouTube, you know. Or sometimes they would, and then we'd have to make it a Rumble only. We did that a bunch of times in the past, but now we're not, you know, we got deleted off YouTube, so we don't have to worry about doing that anymore. So it's kind of nice.
Very nice. And Laura, your book is out. Your first book is out. I'm so excited. Can you hold it up? Do you have it with you?
I have it right here. I have it. If I can turn my background off so you can see it. No, there we go.
Awesome. Yes. So excited. So tell us a little bit about the book. And also we have an online thing coming up this Saturday, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, my book's called Awakening the Truth Frequency, and it's really just a whole lot of information about what took place in Eisenhower's administration that I found out about, how that links to the Mars recruitment I went through, Alternative 3, which is about establishing colonies on Mars. Alternative 2 is about going into underground bases. And it's all related to this engineered timeline and NWO to really compromise the surface population and just have like this alternative in place. And it's about my process, my story, my upbringing, and all the different things that I've learned along the way from whistleblowers, other researchers, and a lot of dot connecting, and a lot about our galactic history and what our dormant DNA is really made of, and just reminders in these times of, it being about us activating our divine blueprint and awakening this truth frequency really means living our authentic self and being able to come together no matter what our differences are, and know that we really need to unify and not fall into this divide and conquer. And so, yeah, it's just like a lot of reminders. Like when I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so glad I reminded myself of that. And yeah, I think it's just a helpful book. I think the timing's great for it coming out now. And yeah, so I'm excited that it's out. And yeah, there's a lot about, Eisenhower's guidance growing up and how something was intercepted in his administration connected to me coming into the family and a lot of us coming in to do this work, and how the use of these technologies have been able have made it possible for them to be very much about the targeting and the hijacking. And we know we're an unstoppable force. The more you try and shut us up, the louder we get. You can't stop what we're here to do. It's encoded in us. So yeah, it's really about that. And it's inside all of us to really awaken when we step away from the inversions of the matrix and we really tune into our soul and our intuition, because that's really the 5D. So that's pretty much what it's about. We have a cosmic hangout event this Saturday, March 9th. It's at 6 p.m. Central. That's 5 p.m. Mountain. And of course, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And Sharnael and I love coming together and doing readings. We've done this on each other's subscription channels. And it's always amazing because between the two of us, we cover so much. So we're going to do readings about what's currently going on, and then we'll do Q&A. We'll be able to do one-on-one sessions. We have discount codes for our subscribers. And if you aren't a subscriber and you jump on board, I can work with you to set up a discounted longer session if you like. I think it's really worth being there. I'm going to share some slides, and between the two of us, we're going to cover a lot of territory. So please join us. And it's great to be here with you guys. I can't wait for the conference. And I know, I was censored too, like I think 1.5 or 2 years ago. And when I click onto it, it just says, pretty much I'm banned for life for bullying and harassing. And it's crazy. It's like when you have a message about love and unity consciousness and all these other divide and conquer tactics, and they're still up there talking. It's pretty wild and surreal times, but I'm so excited about the conference and just the friendship and the community that, we have, that of course is part of the much more larger, global family and picture in the collective and what we're here to do on this earth right now.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Boom.
Laura Eisenhower for POTUS. I'm
Right.
for that.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Only
We're
POTUS I
excited.
want.
We're excited for the conference too. And
Talk about it. Let's talk about the conference. Yeah.
You're gonna have physical copies of your book there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's exciting. That's exciting. I haven't got it yet, but I think I'm gonna get it so I can read it before the conference. I was gonna wait to get it in person, but I'll save that so the attendees can buy it.
Oh, cool. Bring it. Yeah, I definitely would love to, sign it. And I mentioned you guys in the acknowledgments.
I saw that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's such an honor. That means a lot, actually. And that's one of my favorite things about you and our relationship is when I met you in 2019 in Hawaii, you didn't know who I was from anyone else. And you were the only presenter that gave me the time of day as if I was a normal human and not, and you sat down with me, and not only that, you invited me to come up to the house and a bunch of other things, but it was like, you just made us feel welcome into this community. And you've been such a huge part of our success, and it means a lot for you to even acknowledge us in your book. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And of course I bring up Sharnael, and I had a list of acknowledgments that didn't make it in, but you gave a testimonial, and it's like the list is so long. But oh my gosh, you and Craig, and man, it's so awesome. So I do a shout out at the end of the book about our collaborations too. So I am in so much appreciation, and it's likewise. You've always made me feel at home, no matter what the bumps in this disclosure community have been. It's never tarnished. It's never got in the way of our connections amongst all of us. We've never allowed this to, harm our relations. And we've gone through a lot of similarities with people expecting us to pick sides, or, just a lot of the rejection from some people if we question their narrative, not smearing them, not trying to harm them in any way, but it's like we need to have discernment. We need to have these more mature conversations. And I think we're all coming from a high level of integrity, and it's never really made sense that we'd be kind of just thrown that sort of response. But I just want to keep that short, but you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
How are we going to let it grow if we don't question? We're supposed to ask questions,
I don't want to keep that short. I want everybody to pitch in a little bit on that and give me your perspective, because I definitely have mine. Jump in, Craig. Craig, you got some, I know you got shit to say.
Oh no, just that. Like I say, if we don't question, if we don't even question ourselves, our own beliefs, our own views and opinions, how are we going to grow? And I think that's what kind of Journey to Truth is all about. I think that's what we're all about, Sharnael. We're just asking questions, because the illusion is crumbling. It's people are waking up en masse all over the world right now, and it's causing chaos to the matrix system. I think, a lot of people are starting to ask questions. So if anybody comes along and is threatened by asking questions, to me, it's a huge red flag. Like, why do you have a problem with me asking questions? Like, I think we all know the answer to that, why someone would have a problem with that. But I'd love to get you guys' perspective as well. What do you think? Anyone?
Right.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead, Laura.
A quote that I put up the other day. Truth, it doesn't mind being, questioned. It's liars that do, right? And I don't want to say those people are liars, but why the defense mechanism? If you're solid in your truth, you know that it can be questioned. You have nothing to hide. You can provide more information. You can answer the tough questions. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead, Tyler.
Or even if they're not intentionally lying, if it's just ego, they're in their ego and they don't want to be perceived, like, how dare you question me? I have the correct information. I am this person, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, so it's all about you then, is what you're saying, and what is that? That's, look at how a cult operates. Cults don't, you can't question a cult from within the cult, right? If you do, you're an outsider. You're an enemy, right? Well, that's how you see these little pockets forming in the disclosure community of like, this person is the leader of their little group with their narrative that they say is the truth and can't be questioned. And then this other person over here has their narrative that completely conflicts with this person's narrative and they can't be questioned, and they fight each other. And then this person over here has a completely different, and it's like, and then they have all their followers that everything they say is gospel truth. They go around commenting on everyone else's like stuff, saying, well, this person says this, so you're wrong. And like, it's like, guys, you're completely off track here. Like, truth, we're all about finding truth and about coming together in unity and love. And like, we can't do that if we're all joining these teams and fighting each other and taking sides and trying to like latching onto one person's narrative. It's like, well, they might have puzzle pieces of the truth, but that doesn't mean everything they have is the ultimate truth. That's not how it works, right? For anyone, right?
And I think that's why, we called this episode The Age of Transparency, because that's what it is. Anyone who even tries to get away with any form of deception right now, like anyone who's elevating their frequency and raising their awareness is going to see through it. And if, you're tapping into your intuition and operating from heart space, a lie is going to fall flat on its face every time. Maybe it's not intentional. I should say deception we're going to just see through the bullshit now. And we're getting to a point where we're all reading each other's minds. It's telepathy. It doesn't matter what the person is saying or where the information comes from or what the message is. It's the energy behind all of it as a bundle. What is the energy that you're receiving from that? And that's what we have to learn how to start tuning into. Forget what's coming out of their mouths, forget that. You can pick up on the energy, because people like you guys know what the reverse speech stuff that you've done.
Bring that up.
Yes.
Whenever you play somebody's audio recording backwards, their subconscious mind is delivering a message as well, and it's picked up through reverse speech. So that is, it's all energy, right? It's still, there's still a message being relayed, and like an underlying message within everybody's, vocal message. And so it's just something that we have to be aware of. And I think right now, like all these, like this infighting and all these, like you said, narratives is the word. Like the truth isn't a narrative, but the people who are fighting, saying, I'm right and you're wrong, there's, when you really step back and look at that information and analyze it, almost all of it's nonsense. It's irrelevant. It's like all these like galactic updates and all this stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with the real life situation that we're all going through right now.
Like, how does that apply to me now? Right?
Yeah. And it's all information that enamors you and wows you. And like, but it's like, what purpose is it actually serving? Because none of it can be proved one way or the other. We're just taking your word for it.
Yeah. You can't prove any of it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so whenever you're left with just taking these people's words for it, taking their word for it, then that's when I'm like, okay, forget the words. What do you tell me energetically? And then that's when we start picking up on all the deception. That's when we start seeing what's really going on. And a lot of what's happening is go ahead, Sharnael. It's bullshit.
Yeah, and the other thing I look at too is when some people can say all the nice things, and it could sound really good, and they're just effing mean people. Like you could see their posts and whatever, and they might be flowery and every now and then, but then commenting here and just blasting people and telling them, not just they're wrong, but like really mean messages and stuff. And it's like, dude, that is so counterproductive and off brand, and not what the whole truth thing is about, and not what the love thing is about. And like, there's a lot of people that I don't necessarily agree with everything, but I really like, and they're nice. And so it's like, what, who knows? Maybe they're telling the truth, maybe they're not, but they're loving and they're kind. And then there's other people who are just like, maybe telling the truth, but they're just total assholes. And then, but so, yeah, I've been following the speech guy since like 2010, back years ago when Mr. T45 was running, even before he was running, and he had predicted some stuff about Trump and other people during that time, and just followed the whole politics with the Bushes and the Reagans, and he's done celebrities and all of that, and I kind of forgot. I literally forgot about him, and then he came up on the radar again, and we've had him on the show like 3 or 4 or 5 times, a bunch of times. And then I actually worked with him personally for 20 something weeks straight, just on some personal stuff with me, because just like Craig was saying, I wanted to know what my speech was saying. I wanted to know like what was going on in my undercurrent, because it was helping me find out some ways to heal, and to, just to see what I could reverse engineer with my health, with some relationships, all of that. And it was really, really beneficial, to know. And I even have an app now, and I test myself all the time. And, sometimes I can't find something in the house, and I'll just talk to myself and say, where are my shoes? I wish I knew where my shoes are, or whatever. And it'll tell me like where they are, or if I need to, one time I was taking an animal integration conference thing, and I was either going to fly into Seattle or fly into Billings, Montana, which is where I'm from, and still have a place there. And I just talked in the app, and I was like, oh, I could fly to Seattle, and it's gonna be cheaper, and or I could go here and drive, and it's gonna take a lot longer and cost more, but blah blah blah. And when I reverse speeched it, it said, I am so homesick. I said, I am so homesick. I am so homesick. I'm so homesick. I was like, okay, there we go. I'm going home. So, and it was a good thing too, because I got to see my grandmother, who passed in January, and that was the last time that I saw her. So, we know stuff, our subconscious knows, and I don't even know if it's literally the subconscious, or if it's like source energy talking through, or some sort of other frequency talking. Like, I choose to know really what that backward speech really is, because it talks a lot about God, and a lot about other things, a lot about other kind of frequencies that aren't so great. And, you know, I really rely on that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that too, because a lot of times all of us will tell ourselves lies and stories about ourselves that aren't true. And we create our own narratives, and we've told ourselves, we repeated it for so many years. And when we stop and actually think about it, like, wait, I've been telling myself a lie for all this time. This isn't even true about myself.
We actually end up believing it, even though it's
Right.
not true.
Well, the reason why I went to him is a bond talk. I wanted to know, like, am I making this shit up? Is this in my brain? Like, and everything, he came back and he was like, this absolutely happened. I would put 40 years of my life career on this happening to you. And it was like a relief, but also like super upsetting. And, you know, at least I know I'm not crazy, but also like dealing with the repercussions of, you know, the memories and things like that. And, you know, he was trying to bring me to a place of healing through what happened. And at one point, you know, he was like, do we need to go any further? And I was like, I choose to know, you know? And so he started asking me questions about going forward and finding out more things that I couldn't remember. Like maybe that would be helpful, maybe it wouldn't. And my backward speech said, if you knew, it would shatter you. And I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to know anymore. This is fine. You know, it's just like, but it was helpful for me because, you know, like you said, telling the stories is like, those things started coming through for me on 2016. And I was like, I've always had some memories, but they really bled through when Max came through. And I was like, this is just like overwhelming. And, you know, here we are 2024. And, yeah, so anyway, that it was helpful for me. And it's anybody who wants to go talk to him, he does do private, you know, stuff. David Oates is his name, and you should go follow him. And so he's still doing everything, you know, on his Facebook, and he has stuff on the internet, and you could go find out. He pretty much every day posts about different things he does on the news and politics and entertainers. And he's done Trump, he's done Robert Kennedy, like all of these guys out there. But anyway, I could go on.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to understand too, like we're not coming at this from a place of like hierarchy, like we're on a pedestal or better than anyone else. It's just a matter of understanding. Like I see some of the people putting out this information, and sometimes they don't understand. Like I said, we all can get consumed in these narratives, and we can be sharing information that may not be true. That's why we have to go within and ask ourselves these questions. But it's more important to understand that everyone, I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people have had a traumatic childhood. And what we're seeing now as these people are adult truth seekers and influencers, they're not actually healed in ways like that they think they are. We aren't healed like we think we are. And that shows in our behavior and some of the personality traits. So we're seeing a lot of like inner child wounding that's coming out to the surface right now. And I think that's what's happening. Like we're seeing, it's like, okay, that person's not actually angry at the people that they're calling out and the people that they're arguing with. They're angry with themselves, but they're not facing themselves. And that's where the real issue is. And we have to hold space and have compassion for these people and allow them space to heal. Because if we frame somebody and we just paint them as enemy number one for the rest of our lives, that's the only way that person is going to show up in our lives, unless we allow them space to heal and show up differently. And when you do that, you will see a change. I guarantee it. So you can't just disagree with somebody or see right through someone's bullshit and say, oh, they're the enemy forever, delete. That's not doing anything. That's not reflective, you know?
Well, think about it. When people attack, that's coming from a place of fear and insecurity. That's why they feel the need to attack. Otherwise, a person that is healed and is secure in their own skin doesn't go around attacking people, right?
Oh,
like they don't do that, you know. No. So when someone's doing that, that's a dead giveaway that they have a lot of healing they need to do.
Oh. Why would anybody? I mean, once you are really living your truth, and you're in a state of love and compassion, or being a Christ conscious kind of being, or just being on a spiritual path. You have compassion, you have discernment as well. You have the ability to just be on a completely higher level. I mean, if we're talking about ascension, how can that come with attacks and divide and conquer and falling into these traps and pits? I mean, this herbalist, this nature woman, just completely insulted me, said I'm a child of Satan, and that I'm just horrific things. And I look at her profile, and it's like this herbalist, this like earth mother type, and I'm like,
I'm so spiritual.
What, like, seriously, what kind of sick person does this? I don't care if I seem a little off sometimes. I mean, look at what we're up against. I'm not a polished and trained public speaker. I do the best I can. I'm on a mission, just like you guys. And I mean, under severe attack and a lifetime of targeting, it's like, where's the compassion and understanding? And the lack of awareness about my great grandfather, who set up the freaking Earth Alliance and the White Hats and all these incredible things, to feel so punished and ridiculed and attacked constantly. It's just like, wow, why don't you dig deeper? Why don't you research a little bit more? And even if I was from an MK Ultra background, and it was one of these 13 bloodlines, which it isn't, why would you treat a person like that? Would you treat Kathy O'Brien like that? It's like, where is the, I just can't even, I ignore it. But sometimes it's like, you just get so nailed, and you see who it's from, and it's not even a bot or a troll. It's like, this person should know better and treat somebody like anybody with respect, doing the best thing.
Ultimately, it's people's projections. They don't want to face themselves, and it's so whatever they're seeing within you, they're really just telling everyone more about themselves than they are about you when they think they're calling you out. Yeah,
you took the words right out of my mouth. All they're doing is telling you about themselves. So they think they're telling you about you, but all they're actually doing is just telling you where they're at and how unhealed they are and how much trauma they have that they need to deal with.
And what's hilarious to me is, like, anyone, how would, if you went around and accused anyone of being responsible for something that their great grandfather did, they would laugh at you, like, what do you mean? I didn't even know him. It was ridiculous. Like, I have nothing to do with him. To even make that connection. I mean, obviously you're related, but you weren't alive when he was alive, right? So
and he did amazing things, but even if he didn't, it's like, you want to look at your ancestors. I mean, I'm sure he made some mistakes. We all have. I mean, we're dealing with a galactic wars. We're dealing with things that on a human level are so hard to understand. And at least he was, one of the leaders that actually did something and knew the government structure was bunk, gave us warnings, and set up positive military branches that we wouldn't be where we're at today without him. And even before I knew all that to the degree that I do, it doesn't make sense to have this level of attack. I mean, think about what ancestral clearing is, that we come here sometimes as walk-ins, sometimes with starseed missions or earth warrior missions to rectify the past, whether it's our ancestors or not. We're not here to just sink down into this lower level. We're here to take things to the next level. And I just can't believe at this stage in the game, 2024, how much of this nastiness still goes on. And I agree. It's like, I found out more and more the wonderful things he did, but I was willing to talk about the deals he may have made when I didn't know it was done behind his back, because I'm here for truth. I'm here to heal it. I'm here to, get. So it's just the cruelty is, I try not to be sensitive to it. It's not about me. It's just heartbreaking, because this is not what we, it's like witnessing a child being, I mean, it's not so much about me or my ego at all, but it's like, this is like negative and toxic. And this is where you're a conduit to the dark weapons, and you are, providing, all sorts of ammunition for the dark side, because if we got to win the war within ourselves and come together to rebuild what has been destroyed and taken down through our consciousness and our awareness to switch on these dormant aspects of self and DNA. Anyway.
Right. And as you raise your frequency, you become more sensitive to the verbal attacks, and it's actually painful to your physical body. And that's something, if you listen to any of the inner earth testimonies, and like the reason that those higher density beings can't come to the surface is because even our negative thoughts affect them physically. So as we start transitioning and changing, it starts affecting us too. So it's really, I understand why you're sensitive to it, because it's not something that we're never taught how to handle this type of situation, right? And we're figuring it out on our own individually. And you know, there's so much stuff that goes on in our minds that we often don't verbalize and we don't speak out. And, you know, sometimes it can be very painful to deal with that stuff. So it's understandable. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. You know, we're all just here learning and figuring it out as we go.
And sorry, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, my thing is, who has time to sit around and find people's posts and, you know, quarterback, armchair, you know, police everybody, and
Right.
like, these people have jobs, or like, what's, you know, I don't know. It's like
a lot of them probably don't.
It's like it seems like their mission. But you know what I've started doing, and my husband is laughing because he's seen me do it over and over. If somebody posts something, I call them.
Yes.
Right.
I literally call everybody who is an asshole and post something dumb. And they don't answer. And then I'll text and put in Messenger. I'm like, hey, tried to call, hope we can chat, and give a thumbs up and a smile. And
that's amazing.
They're scared to death. They don't want to talk. They can just sit there, you know, behind their computer and be assholes, but to have a conversation, they won't. And so after 2 or 3 times of me trying to call and leave messages, I'll just say, hey, I tried to call to talk to you about your comment. Give me a call when you can, or whatever. And I'll do that 2 or 3 times. And if they don't, then I'll just say, well, look, I'm going to go ahead and remove your comment, but I would love to still talk to you about it, or because mostly I don't want people to start fighting when, you know, if they get on my page and then someone else fights and then they say something mean, and then there's just like, I want my page clear. So I have called probably, I don't know, 30 people or so in the last, since 6 months. And my husband, he just cracks up. He'll sit there and he wants to be there when I call, because he loves it. He's like, oh God. But yeah, go ahead, Craig.
I was just going to say, with all this, you know, we talk about disclosure, and, you know, we all want the big disclosure. We all want, you know, it confirmed what the things we are engaged in, the things that we think we know. But, you know, I would love nothing more than for some high-level extraterrestrial being to appear on the TV with President 45 and go, we're here, you know what I mean? But they won't do that, like I think you were alluding to it before, until we're ready, until we're healed, until we, as individuals and as a civilization, can cope with that. So it's like there's this, yes, there is this I don't want to say fight, but this agenda for disclosure, but it's simultaneous to the spiritual path. You know, one of healing and growth. And I think people think ascension is this like, oh, I'm floating around and everything's wonderful. It's being in the chaos whilst maintaining humility, grace, and loving kindness towards other people and other beings. You know, I think it's that simple, but some people just can't do that.
We're bringing heaven to earth. We're bringing heaven to earth, the heaven frequency, you could say, the love frequency.
Exactly.
We're grounding it here. It's not about escaping here to go to that. We already came, you know, us starseeds, like we already came from that. We would have never come here in the first place if there was no hope, or, you know, we're just going to be tortured and then like that doesn't make any sense. No, we came here to bring that here to help with this shift that is happening. It's happening. It's not a question of if, it's just a matter of like, okay, how long is this going to take, and how hard do you want it to be, or how, you know, easy do you want it to be? It's up to us, you know, and we're here for that change. So we are the change, you know?
Right. I agree. You make it as hard as, I mean, it's up to you how hard your life is, you know? And a lot of times what I realize is whenever we deny our truth and we're living a lie, that's whenever things are miserable for you. If you're not in alignment with what your soul is here to do, you're going to have physical pains. You're going to get sick. You're going to be your bad things are going to happen to you. And it just, you know, things are going to constantly repeat until you see the lesson, until you understand like, oh, this isn't the right path for me. This is why it keeps going wrong. This is why I keep getting in bad relationships. This, whatever it is, and then once you start actually being honest with yourself and speaking your truth, and you're going to attract people of a similar frequency, right? And you're going to attract opportunities of a similar frequency, and then you're going to be more aligned, and you're going to find your way. But if you deny what your soul knows is true, because it's hard to face, and a lot of people do shut that part off because they don't want to face the truth, because it might mean ending some relationships and friendships and a paradigm shift and even careers and things that you've attached your identity to. You now have to let go of that, and it's scary. But when you do, you don't understand what's on the other side of that. I certainly didn't, and I'm still figuring it out. It's not like I have all the answers, but when I made the leap of faith and quit my job, and a lot of old friends and relationships fell away, the amazing new opportunities and people that came into my life, I could have never predicted. There was no space for it in my mind, because I was living an old program. I was living a lie. And then when you let go of that, here's all this stuff that's right there that you just cannot see until you surrender. And I think that's the powerful thing about just letting go of that and looking forward. And it's going to be as easy or as hard as you want it to be.
Well said.
Yes.
Let's talk about what happened yesterday with Instagram and Facebook, and let's talk about AT&T going down for a few minutes.
Oh yeah, what's that all about?
JFK Jr.
We can only speculate. I really don't know. I mean, we hear so many things about.
I thought my Facebook was deleted at first.
I did.
I was like, oh no, they got me finally.
I didn't know anything happened. I wasn't online all day, and I came on, and everybody, there's already memes made and all kinds of stuff. I had no idea. I had to find out through the memes what happened.
Yeah,
and
that's how I find the news out.
Right.
Yeah. I get my news through memes. Yeah.
A lot of times we do. It's amazing, but I think we can only speculate what actually happened. People say, "Oh, the white hats came in and took over, and they reset, and they're now controlling Facebook," which I don't think is the case, to be perfectly honest. But I do see people saying that. There's a number of different things happening. A number of different
Facebook doing damage control, deleting stuff to save their, who knows? There's a number of things.
Did you see? Was it a couple of weeks ago? Maybe not even that. Elon Musk tweeted on X, just put, "This is a test," and it's just made me wonder, are they testing stuff behind the scenes, ready for something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think there is something going on where I think things are going to be shut down, and they're kind of trialing it. But that's just, again, mere speculation. Don't go to the bank with that or anything. But I think something's definitely going on.
100%. I think that feels true. Like there's something going on behind the scenes that we'll probably never understand in the moment, because we're in a war situation. Whatever it looked, digitally, information, spiritual, physically, whatever, on all fronts, we're at war on some level. And no one's going to give up their move. No one's going to show their hand. Sleight of hand right now is the way, is how everything's operating. So I don't think we're going to actually know. So we can speculate and, connect some dots and come up with our best theory. But to sit there and come out and say, no, this is what happened, I know the truth, I think that's unhealthy. And because unhealthy for not only yourself, but you're spreading information that you actually don't know if it's true. And, that's where we have to be careful.
Or to just obsess over that stuff. It's like, ultimately it doesn't matter,
Right.
Every detail of what's happening, it's like some people, they spend all their time trying to figure out all these things, and it's like a distraction to what's really important,
Right.
Well, we're all kind of detectives. We're trying to get to the bottom of things. There's been layer upon layer of lies, rewritten history, false disclosures, plants, well-intentioned people that didn't get the full amount of information that might have been limited in what they were able to share. And I make it clear. I mean, awakening the truth frequency isn't about my truth. It's about all of our truth, and living as close to the truth, true to ourselves as possible, so that we have discernment, so that we are vibrating at a level of authenticity, so that we can easily see where we're being duped, so that we can be careful, so that we can have each other's backs, instead of, try and push something and say that this is the ultimate truth. It's like, a lot of people are going to, eventually be turned off of that, because there isn't one absolute truth. We've had many different lifetimes. There's many different dimensions. There's there's many different experiences, but there is, you know, timeline manipulation, there is rewritten history. So let's just be a part of the greater conversation. And this is what my book is about. Like, have discernment, take what resonates and leave the rest. See with all the different possibilities what conclusion you come up with, you know, but, you know, come from a place of empowerment and, you know, strengthen yourself, because you're the ultimate disclosure, remembering who you truly are and what you're made of. And once you step into that, you're not going to give your power away. You're not going to just be a follower. You're not going to, you know, just defend, you know, a certain narrative to the point of, banishing or hating anybody that's not in agreement. I mean, this is all old paradigm stuff that is repeating itself in a different languaging and different, you know, movements, just like the wokeism and just like climate change. It's no different when you're pushing a narrative. You're becoming polarized in your attempt to be right, when you just need to be humble and be like, all right, this is what I learned. What did you learn? Oh my gosh, well, let's put our heads together and see what we find.
Right. We're moving out of the dogmatic belief systems of the old paradigm. That's what that is. We're moving away from that. Like we're expanding out of that, is how I like to view it. But a lot of people want to stay stuck in a belief system. They find comfort and they find a false sense of security and a false sense of self in that, right? So that's why a lot of people cling so hard to different belief systems, and that can take the form of not just like a religion, or it can take the form of something in the disclosure community, like a certain narrative or certain person and their narrative,
which is a religion.
It is a religion,
which becomes a religion.
Like you just
it's
said.
it's just without a church,
right?
You know?
It's the exact same thing, and it's like we're moving out of that as a collective. So that's all going away, and you know, if you're doing that, that means you're trying to cling to the old paradigm because you haven't yet found your true self yet. You haven't yet connected with your true self and your truth and your sovereignty, and been comfortable in a space of not knowing for sure what the details are, because that ultimately doesn't matter. What matters is that you're living your truth, and you're in your authenticity, and you're in your sovereignty, and you're in the love frequency. And then we can come together and figure out the pieces, how the puzzle pieces fit together. But if you're clinging to one narrative and then fighting other people, like, you're just perpetuating that same energy. You're just perpetuating the old control system paradigm. That's all you're doing. And that's why the elites want us. They do everything in their power to keep us stuck in there, and to push us to pick one of these boxes to make our identity tied to and to defend, right? Like, oh, you got to either be hardcore conservative or hardcore liberal, and you got to buy into these narratives, and then you fight each other. Like, they don't care which one you pick, as long as you're picking one of them, and then you're fighting the other side, and they keep you spinning in that circle, right?
Well, you know what this reminds me of? Who's seen the show, The Orville? It's like kind of like a Star Trek based show.
Show's amazing.
What's it called?
Yeah, The Orville. It's like Star Trek, but more of a comedy. Like,
it's like a parody of Star Trek.
Yeah, parody. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Anyway, but there's tons of disclosure in it, and so their version of the Enterprise is going around the galaxy, and they stop at a planet that's a very primitive civilization, and they introduce religion to this planet. And and somebody who's like a new recruit is asking, why are you doing this? Why are you interfering? It's like, because, you know, there's only so many ways we can interfere with humanity, and this is one way. And we realize if we don't give them something to believe in, they all end up killing themselves. So it's just that, and the religion, they went to this planet and introduced religion as ETs, like they acted like gods. But it was all, if they weren't doing it to the plants they didn't do it to, they would all eat and become cannibals and kill each other. So they had to give them something else to believe in, so they would stop fighting. And they understood, like, yeah, it's a lie, but these people like are at such a low level of consciousness.
It was still serving them.
It's serving them. It was a stepping stone. Right. And then eventually you don't need anything to believe in, because it's really all you. And we're far past the point, in my opinion, of it serving humanity. Like, it's been a long time since it's been serving us. It's been very detrimental, in my opinion, for a long time. But there's still so many people that want to cling to that, right? But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, man, that kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's why I did that. No, just kidding. It's like, going back to the Facebook thing and the whole like sticking to your narrative, like I actually did have somebody post on my page and said something like, oh, well, we think it was, because I made a little thing like, does anyone think it's like a test, and anyone else think this? And someone said, oh, it's the white hats, da 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 da. And I said, hey, love you so much, but I don't really agree with that. And we can just agree to disagree or whatever. And then she was like, I would have no reason to lie to you. And, like I was calling her a liar. And I'm like, I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just saying I don't agree with you. And then she was like, right, but I've never lied to you before and I have no reason to lie to you. And I'm like, you can't tell me that you factually know that. So, I mean, it's just so weird how people just take that personal because I don't agree. And it's like, it's okay that we don't agree, right? I mean, we could still be friends. And
I think that's one of the problems with social media and communicating in text is that you don't hear the tone of voice. Like if you would have said that to her, she'd have been like, "Oh yeah, totally fine," But she's probably misheard it in her mind that you're being aggressive or being like, "No, that's rubbish. Why would you even say that?" And that's why I think in a conference setting, it's so important that we actually get together as people in real time.
That's another manifestation of.
That's why I was calling people on the phone, is like so they could hear my tone and we could have a conversation and maybe get some resolve and they would stop that. But but I love the conference thing. Go ahead.
She's attached her identity to that belief. It's going back to that. So you just you saying you don't agree, you're not attacking her like you said at all. You're just saying, hey, I just don't agree. I still love you. But she's taking that as an attack because she's attached her identity. She thinks she is that belief. Right. It's what religion does to people. They attach they think they are those beliefs. They attach their identity so much in it that any questioning even of it, they take as a personal attack. And that's why you have people going around so frantically attacking people when you just question something they strongly believe in.
And if you want proof of that, go and question a flat earther.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
That's a great example.
See the demon come out. You will see the demons.
We've gotten a lot of attacks from that.
What is that? That's so great. I mean, not that I don't. I mean, whatever, what anyone believes, but I get that whole mean spirited of that whole group. It's like what? Ugh.
Yeah. Well, that to me is directly an insecurity. Like if they have that attitude just by a simple question. Like, you don't actually believe this, do you? So you take that me questioning it as some sort of personal attack,
Well, they call you a globe card and they say you're an idiot and they start calling you names.
It's all lower level consciousness and condescending arrogance. Yeah, I mean, but that's a conversation for another time.
That's a different,
We gotta wrap up. But you guys talk a little bit, any kind of last minute stuff in your website and your conference and go around.
I would like to take this opportunity to invite all of your listeners to our conference in Grafton, Illinois, May 13th through the 16th. Laura is going to be a speaker. We're calling it Rebels of Disclosure this year. It's our third year we're doing it. And all the information is available at rebelsofdisclosure.com. You can get 4-day passes, 1-day passes, virtual passes. And we encourage all you to come. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, it's really interesting trying to host a conference in the age of transparency, right? And everything we're talking about and picking speakers. And there's so many people that should suggest people that we should have speaking or people that reach out and want to speak, but we're like energetically doing the same thing. I'm like, okay, this isn't just about their information. We have to spend a whole week with this person. And I want everyone there to be comfortable with everyone there. Right. So the universe with two different speakers this year, we've had to retract our invite because as soon as we put them on the lineup, the universe immediately showed us their true colors. And that's when we have to make the hard decision and say, hey, listen, this A, B, and C happened and we no longer align with whatever, blah, blah. And we're just upfront about it. And, that's where some of the attacks come from and, some of the negative attacks, but it's not us casting these people out. It's us staying in integrity. And so everyone we have there is somebody that we truly believe is authentic and they're sharing from the heart. And obviously Laura is joining us for the third time. And she's one of the most authentic people out there speaking the truth right now. So we're really excited about it. It's such a beautiful venue. Like I said, it's in Grafton, Illinois, and somebody's like, "Oh, I'll never go to Illinois again. I had a horrible experience." But this is not what you imagine when you imagine Illinois. This is such a beautiful, like, off the grid lodge, and I mean, Laura, you were there. Maybe you can explain what it's like.
Best venues I've ever been to, honestly. It was just beautiful in nature, just the open space of just everybody bringing their tables and their products, and then the speaker rooms were awesome, really, really good size. And, we just had so much fun, and the food was amazing. And the location, yeah, absolutely. Just totally in nature. We went to a wildlife reserve where they, a lot of injured animals, and just amazing things in just that area. So I felt like I was recharging and on a bit of a major break. So it just, I felt so recharged and so inspired, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for your kind words. I feel absolutely the same about you guys, and it's really where it's at. And this is what leading is in these times, leading by example. It's like staying in integrity, staying in our heart, being loving, forgiving, and compassionate, and understanding that that person's really, really struggling, doing our best not to take it all personally. But all these points made today have been so huge and important. So anyway, I can't wait to see you guys. I hope you come to the conference and join Sharnael and I on Saturday. Check our websites. I just sent out a blog about it and a blast, and be sure to be there. It's going to be awesome.
And everyone here, including Craig, coming from the UK, is going to be at the conference, except for Sharnael, and we got to change that.
I'm working on it. Right in the middle, you guys always do this right in the middle of finals with my kids, and it's like.
So we're not friends, anymore. Sorry.
Right? Yeah. How dare you?
Instantly offended. Yeah. I can honestly say it is worth every single bit of effort and whatever to get over there, because obviously I seriously looked at it last year, but I'd already promised my family a holiday, so I couldn't quite afford it. But this year I'm there, and I'm really, really excited. I've never been to the States before. I've been to Canada, not been to the States, and just to actually meet you guys in person and everyone that's going to be there. What I love what you're doing is there's no kind of celebrity culture. It's like we're one, and I think that reflects on you guys so much. What you're facilitating, that there are speakers, there are people there with messages and information, but apparently you do a campfires at night or something, and everyone just hangs out, and I'm just like, that's where it's at for me. I mean, I just I want to hear other people's stories. I want to hear where other people are at, and just meet with people, and I'm really excited. So anybody that's there, I can't wait to meet you all.
Yeah,
can't wait to meet you in person, man.
We're so excited to have you. We're so excited to have you join us. Yeah,
I know. Oh my gosh, I feel so uplifted after talking to you guys.
Where can we find you, Craig? We got to.
I'm here in a minute. I'm joking. So I mean, this Saturday, whilst you're doing your thingy online, I will be literally at that time playing the drums on stage with a band called 10. I've been showing it a lot. We're doing a UK tour this year if people want to come out. I'm also in a band, Nth Ascension. I've got my meditation music channel, usual socials like Craig Martin Walker on Facebook if people want to connect. And thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you guys can find me at drsharnael.com and all the socials. And of course, please hit subscribe and follow and all the things. Definitely helps us. Share this with somebody that you may feel like needs to hear what we're talking about here today. And maybe it'll encourage someone and make people feel a little bit less crazy, that they're not the only ones. And I just love all you guys so much and appreciate everybody. And I do hope to see any of you this Saturday with Laura and I. We're going to have a lot of fun from 6 to 9 on Saturday. I'll put all the links in here so you guys can just click away. And mucho love to all of you. I always have fun with you guys hanging out, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And really quick, I want to invite everybody to check out our brand new website, journeytotruth.online. Oh, cool. It has everything that we do all in one place now. So go check it out and sign up for the email list. We're doing a new monthly newsletter thing too. So there you go.
Awesome.
All right. CosmicGuide.org. I forgot to say. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Bye, guys. Love y'all.
All right.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.